Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football week number 10 picks and predictions, where I predict the final score of every ranked matchup. And we begin with I believe this is a Friday night game. Oregon State, fresh off their bye week. They're also ranked. They're on the road at Washington. How about Washington, the unranked team, sitting at 4.5-point favorites? And guys, I really think this game comes down to Oregon State's question marks surrounding the quarterback position. We've seen their starting quarterback struggle. They've used multiple different quarterbacks. I'm going to take Washington, one of the best passing offenses in college football. Yeah, their defense isn't great, but it's a weeknight game at home. Washington wins, covers the spread, and unfortunately, we all love that Oregon State is ranked. This is a tough matchup on the road in the Pac-12. Give me Washington at home. Moving to the Saturday slate, we've got Ohio State traveling to Northwestern. Northwestern is the worst team in the Big Ten. This line opened to -36. It's already been bet up to -38. And guys, I'm concerned about Northwestern scoring in this game. Certainly, they could get a late touchdown. Maybe CJ Stroud throws an interception. They get set up with good field position. But this is a total mismatch. For Ohio State, the one thing I'll be watching, how motivated are they to play this game? Multiple times earlier this year, against Arkansas State, against Rutgers, it looked like Ohio State simply didn't want to be on the field. And you get a big win this past week, maybe a little bit of a hangover. You're playing an 11 a.m. game against, a horrible team. And unfortunately for Northwestern, I don't think it'll matter because they're so bad. They are so horrific. They just allowed 33 points to Iowa, and that terrible offense. This is going to get really, really ugly. I'll take Ohio State. Next, we've got Texas Tech traveling to TCU. The big noon game. TCU is still undefeated, and I think they remain that way with a higher scoring 48-31 win, and they cover the 10-point spread. Texas Tech, not impressive this past weekend. They were shut down by Baylor at home. I think TCU right now, they're a motivated team. I still don't think they make the playoffs. They're going to win this game at home, though, with big noon there. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a home game. They're going to be ranked somewhere inside the top 7 of the playoff committee rankings. Good offense. Defense isn't great, but TCU versus Texas Tech, I'll take TCU to win that game, and I do have them covering because of how bad Texas Tech looked at home against Baylor this past week. Next, we've got North Carolina on the road at Virginia. Another kind of crappy noon game here in the ACC. Virginia just has no offense. They lost in like 4 overtimes to Miami, 14-12. I think North Carolina wins this game. Maybe Drake May finally struggles a little bit. Virginia keeps this game close. I'm just not a believer at all in North Carolina's defense, but it might not matter considering Virginia and Brendan Armstrong have taken such a massive step back on the offensive side of the ball. But you know what? I am taking Virginia plus the 9.5. I wouldn't bet it. I don't feel confident about it. I think North Carolina wins this game and they remain a one-loss ACC team. They're probably going to be facing Clemson in the ACC championship game with Drake May and that offense. And guys, if you don't know, I believe Drake May is first in college football in passing yards, in touchdowns responsible for. He's not going to win the Heisman, obviously, but still, it's been a very good year for that offense. The only major issue with North Carolina is an extremely below-average defense. Next, we have Tulane traveling to Tulsa. And guys, I really worry about Tulane in this matchup. Right now, they're 7.5-point favorites, but Tulsa can throw the ball around. And I am going to pick this game as one of my major upsets of the week. Tulsa can throw the football. They've got a good enough offense. They're at home. They're facing a top 25 team. Very rare for them. They're going to have the atmosphere. They're going to have the crowd. Again, they can throw. They've got an explosive offense. Tulane coming off a bye, maybe a little flat-footed, 7.5-point favorites. It's a weird line. I'll take Tulsa in the upset. Tulane, for as good as they are, they're not a top 20 team in college football. And right now, the AP poll has them at 19. I'm guessing the committee is probably going to have them at like 24 or 25. But either way, I do think Tulsa wins this game and gives Tulane, who I respect Tulane football, but they give Tulane their second loss. Moving to the 3:30 window, we have the major possible 1v2 matchup. I think it will be an official 1v2 because I think they're going to rank Georgia number 1 and Tennessee number 2. That's what I believe the committee will do. Ohio State certainly has an argument. We will see, but this could be a potential 1v2. Either way, it is Tennessee traveling to Georgia. Georgia right now sitting -9. They're 9-point favorites. I certainly don't think they're going to cover that, but I do think this is going to be a higher scoring game. And I do think Georgia at home will win this game. Now, this is possibly worst case horror scenario. You know, if you don't want multiple teams to get into the playoffs from the SEC, because if Tennessee loses this game close on the road and then they win out, they're basically a shoo-in, and then you would need Georgia to beat Alabama in the SEC championship to really keep, 3 teams out for the SEC. So we will see. The reason I'm picking Georgia is just mainly because they're at home. I think there's no chance they cover the 9-point spread. I understand the models that they have it, Georgia's 75% chance to win. Georgia's got a good defense, but I just think Tennessee's way more explosive on offense, and they're going to keep this game close. I would not be surprised at all if Tennessee pulled this upset. Georgia in several games this year has really underperformed and underwhelmed me, but they are at home. We're going to go with Georgia winning very close. That's going to be a really, really good game. Next, we have Oregon going on the road to Colorado, and guys, I've got 3 words for you. Trust Colorado football. I'm kidding. I can't do it this week. I just simply can't do it. Oregon wins this game. They're 31-point favorites. Colorado is still, even after beating Cal a few weeks ago, they are still the worst team in Power 5. Although Northwestern is giving them a run for their money. They really are. There's really no analyzation that needs to be done on this game. I will say it is kind of weird. This game's on ESPN. It's the 3:30 game on ESPN. It's a 31-point spread, and it is in Colorado, so it'll be a 12:30 start time. Could you imagine if Colorado pulled off this upset? Oh, it would be amazing. It would be amazing, but there's just no chance it can happen. Next, we have Penn State on the road at Indiana. So, guys, the history with this game, Penn State, the week after they play Ohio State, is really bad. They never cover the spread, and sometimes they get upset. The theory is, the Ohio State game is their Super Bowl. They put so much effort into it. The next week they have a clunker, and this is the perfect time for Penn State to kind of underperform. They're around 13.5, 14-point favorites in this game. It's a boring game. Indiana, the second worst team in the Big Ten. Penn State's not going to be motivated to play it. Indiana can kind of throw the ball a little bit. They were competitive with Michigan, at least in the first half when, in that home game about a month ago. I believe Indiana probably covers this spread because Penn State has been so bad the week after the Ohio State game, and there's just going to be no motivation. I do think Penn State wins this game because they can still go 10-2. They can still make a New Year's Six Bowl. They're still a good team, even after the loss to Ohio State, but they're not going to cover the spread. Next, we've got Oklahoma State coming off their 48-0 collapse, traveling to Kansas. And you know what, guys? I'm going with a shootout, and I'm going with Kansas. I don't know what Kansas quarterback situation is coming off their bye week, but I do know even if they start their backup QB, this is a team that can put up points. Oregon State, I said they were one of the most overrated teams in the preseason. Obviously, I was proven wrong throughout much of the year, but now they have 2 losses. They just lost 48-0. You lose this game, that's 3 losses. Kansas is a team, they're due for a win. They're at home. Every game is going to be big for Kansas. They're trying to at least finish 7-5, 8-4. Oklahoma State, yes, they're going to rebound. They're not as bad as that 48-0 loss. That was an aberration. But still, I mean, they're only, 3.5-point favorites in this game. They could very easily lose it, and I do see them losing it straight up to Kansas. Kansas offense, to me, they're good enough. I will say I'm very concerned about Kansas's defense, but you also have to understand this is an Oklahoma State offense that just got shut out. So it's not like Oklahoma State has a juggernaut offense. They're not going to put up 700 yards on Kansas's defense like Oklahoma did. Next, we have Michigan State traveling to Illinois. And to me, Michigan State is just a totally dead program. They're completely dead in the water. You know, they've got the suspensions on some of the players after the fight against Michigan. Illinois, it just feels like it's Illinois' year, guys, doesn't it? They are facing Nebraska. Nebraska is moving the ball. Casey Thompson, the quarterback's doing good. He goes out with an injury. Illinois wins that game 26-9. They completely shut him down. All the breaks this year are going Illinois' way. They've got a very solid defense. They're at home. Michigan State is dead in the water. They're a dead program right now. They can't score. They have a really bad offense, and that's a horrible recipe going up against a really good Illinois defense. I think Illinois might have an outside chance to shut out Michigan State. It probably won't happen. We might see a game where it's like 27-0. I have it 27-13, but I would not be shocked. Illinois, it feels like it's their year out of the West. They're going to beat Michigan State. I would not bet on that spread, though. Next, we have Syracuse traveling to Pittsburgh, another 3:30 game. How about Pittsburgh, 3.5-point favorites? Yeah, guys, I don't think Syracuse should be ranked. To me, the major issue with Syracuse, they've got such a poor offense. They've got a major quarterback issue. Their starting quarterback not playing well. They got crushed by Notre Dame. Now they're going on the road against a Pittsburgh team that has a superstar running back, a decent enough quarterback. Pitt's at home. I'll take Pittsburgh to win this game fairly easily. Again, they are favored. The unranked team favored over the ranked team by 3.5 points. That's because Syracuse offense is so bad. And I'll take Pittsburgh to get the job done at home. Now we have UCF traveling to Memphis. UCF ranked at number 25 after their big win against Cincinnati. Full disclosure, I can't really make an accurate prediction right now because UCF's quarterback, I believe, is dealing with a concussion. We don't know if he's going to play. I will say UCF's backup played well enough against Cincinnati to where I do think he can move the ball. Memphis is really a middle-of-the-road American team. They're not horrible. They could certainly pull an upset like this at home, especially if they're facing a backup quarterback. But I just believe in UCF football. I really like them this year, so I'm going to pick UCF 32-22, but there is a massive quarterback issue for UCF. We'll see what happens with that. We have Liberty traveling to Arkansas. Kind of an interesting 4 o'clock matchup. Kind of a fun little late non-conference game. Liberty gets ranked at number 24. And as fun as it is to see Liberty ranked, guys, they're really not that good. About 3 weeks ago, Liberty was down. They were losing to an FCS school. They came back and won, I believe, by 1 point. Arkansas has a really bad run defense, but KJ Jefferson is playing really well. They just put up 41 points on Auburn, who's kind of an okay SEC defense. I'll take Arkansas at home to win. And it is pretty remarkable. The ranked team is 14-point underdogs against the unranked team. And of course, if Arkansas wins this game, you're going to hear a bunch of SEC fans clamoring for Arkansas to be ranked, when in reality, Liberty shouldn't be ranked in the first place. I understand the record is good, but if you look at their games, you look at the context surrounding them. Originally, I actually had Liberty winning this game by 1 point. But it's just like you can't be prisoner of the moment. Just because they're ranked doesn't mean as 14-point underdogs, that's good value when you look at the season that they've had. It's just when you look at their games, they've been close. They've been unimpressive in a lot of them. I will take Arkansas in this one. Moving on to the nightcap. This is the ESPN game at 7 o'clock. So ESPN, the past few weeks, it always seems like Herbstreit and Fowler are calling the ESPN game, not the ABC game. So that's interesting. This is Alabama at LSU. Right now, Alabama is 13-point favorites coming off a bye. Both of these teams coming off a bye. And guys, this game reeks of a Nick Saban statement. You've got Alabama, not going to be ranked inside the top 4. They already have one loss. LSU, Jaden Daniels, he's playing better. He's coming along. LSU controls their own destiny. They only have 2 losses. But guys, Nick Saban, Alabama, their offense is getting better. Their defense is playing better as well. They've got one of the most talented defenses in college football. They will take it to LSU on the road. This is actually a pretty big rivalry, honestly, these two teams. And I do know Alabama's on the road, but Bryce Young, after the bye week, he's more healthy. Alabama's going to be able to run the ball in this game. They're going to be firing on all cylinders, and Nick Saban is going to come out and make a statement on the road. And guys, with LSU, I keep going back to that early season game where they beat Mississippi State, but I was watching Jane Daniels, and I was like, this dude's just not good. I know Jane Daniels has been better, and I picked LSU in several games, and they've won, and it's been great. It's not going to happen this week. Alabama has too talented of a defense. They will cover the 13-point spread, and they will have an offensive explosion. They might even put up a 50-burger. Next, we have Texas traveling to Kansas State. It's funny, Texas is 1.5-point favorites, and the metrics would all point to Texas, being the favorites in this game. I think it's mainly weighted on that week 2 game they had against Alabama. The metrics loved Texas ever since that game because technically they should have won that game. But guys, sometimes you got to just roll with the hot hand. And Kansas State, whether it's their backup quarterback, whether it's Adrian Martinez, the 48-0 win, I am rolling with the momentum. Texas lost 2 weeks ago. They had a bye week. They've got no momentum. I will take Kansas State at home to get this win over Texas. It's one of those, Big 12 crapshoot games. I'm just rolling with the home team that has momentum in that one. Next, we've got Michigan traveling to Rutgers. Quick note on this one. The line opened Michigan minus 24. It's already up to 26.5. So there's a lot of money coming in on Michigan, and for good reason. This is a Michigan team. They're improving on defense. They've got an unbelievable running game. They're not going to lose to a team like Rutgers. I think Rutgers is going to have major problems moving the ball in this game against the Michigan defense that is really sound. They're a no-nonsense football team, and they're going to win this game 42-13, maybe 49-13, just depending. But I will take Michigan in that one. This is a major night game, guys. A lot of people, Notre Dame's not ranked. Notre Dame's not good. Guys, Notre Dame is improving. They've got 2 huge wins at North Carolina and at Syracuse. And now they get Clemson at home. This is Marcus Freeman's coming out game. He's going to, coach really well. Notre Dame with the momentum, they will win this game. Clemson is a total fraud. They've got massive quarterback issues. DJ Uiagalelei is going to start this game. He'll probably be benched by the second quarter or at least the third quarter. And Notre Dame gets a few breaks at home. They win this game. Clemson gets their first loss. They're still going to be undefeated in ACC play, but this loss is going to cripple Clemson. Even if they win the ACC and have one loss, I think this might eliminate them from the playoff because of what's happening with Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten, because of what's happening with Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee in the SEC. This is a major danger zone right now. Clemson, only a 3.5-point favorite. Give me Notre Dame at home. I know their offense isn't great, but Notre Dame is a team that has a really underrated defense. People forget, week 1, they shut down Ohio State. Everyone then said, it's just because Ohio State's not that good. No, it turns out Ohio State, although Ryan Day has some major issues calling plays, Ohio State is a good offense. It's Notre Dame has a really good defense. They've silenced teams. And Clemson with a major quarterback issue, they're going to have massive problems in this game. Give me Notre Dame. We have Arizona traveling to Utah. Utah dealing with some weird quarterback issues. Again, guys, with these college injuries, I can never understand it. So Cam Rising randomly misses a game last week. Utah barely wins. They won 21-17 against Washington State. Is Cam Rising back? I don't know. Arizona has a horrible defense. That's what I do know. So I I am liking Utah to cover the spread, but I would not sit here and bet on this game and speculate just because I'm not interested in playing the quarterback guessing game with these teams and these injuries. With college, it's basically impossible. Toledo's quarterback randomly is suddenly not playing on Saturday. It's like, when did that come up? Like, you just cannot guess these injuries. So I think Utah is a really good team. I still believe they're probably the best team in the Pac-12. Yes, I know they have 2 losses. I know they lost to Florida in week 1. That's not a good look, but they're still a really good team. At worst case, they're a top 3 team in the Pac-12, and it's a better Pac-12 this year. Next, we have Wake Forest traveling to NC State. So this is a ranked matchup. Both of these teams are ranked. It's funny because both of these teams probably shouldn't be ranked. Or maybe I would say Wake Forest probably still should be ranked even after their blowout loss. Sam Hartman, the epic meltdown, 6 turnovers in the third quarter. NC State right now 3.5-point underdogs because they can't score with their backup quarterback. And guys, it's just NC State is horrible. NC State with their backup quarterback, they got hammered by Syracuse. They scored 9 points. Then they should have lost to Virginia Tech. It took a miracle comeback to win that game. I will take Wake Forest even after the bad game by Sam Hartman. I'm going to mark it off as an aberration. It's not going to happen again. Moving to the nightcap, we have UCLA traveling to Arizona State. This game being played at 9:30 on FS1. And guys, I don't know about you, but anytime a game is played on FS1, it seems like it's really high scoring. And Arizona State, I'm actually really starting to like their offense. We know Chip Kelly is a superstar play caller. Guys, I think this is going to be a massive high scoring game. The over is a lock. I'll take UCLA to win 46-31. Chip Kelly's a superstar. Arizona State's been playing better on offense recently. I will take this game being a shootout on FS1 with UCLA getting the victory. It's going to be a nice night there for Arizona State, sunny, and then you're going to get a nice little sunset because it's a 6:30 start, so it's going to be beautiful there. And then the actual real nightcap, this is the 10:30 game. It is California traveling to USC. California has kind of had a decent defense this year. Their offense is just terrible. I think this is a massive blowout. I'm guessing Jordan Addison will be back, but really USC might decide to hold him out to be cautious. This game is not going to be close. USC is 21-point favorites. California is one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 conference. I will take USC in this one big. But guys, that's going to do it for my college football week 10 picks and predictions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.